Thanks for joining us here on 90s Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi. The Women's World Cup gets underway on July the 20th. Team USA defending its 2019 title, and with the help of a couple of local stalwarts, including co-captain and Golden native Lindsey Horan. But will the U.S. be able to defend their title coming up with the World Cup? Ariel Orsuta from 9 News Sports, and also, by the way, key player on 9 News' rec soccer team, the 49ers, joins us now. Ariel, first of all, tell us what your overall excitement level is for the World Cup coming up here.
Well, first of all, two-time defending World Cup champions.
Good point.
Yeah, 2015, 2019. So they're coming in here. Very different team, though, than what we've seen in 2015 and 2019. Those were two very similar teams. So we kind of had really super high hopes in 2019 that we would see a very similar performance that we saw in 2015. This is an extremely different team this year than what we saw before. Primarily young players, primarily new players, all of those older players that we're used to seeing, Megan Rapinoe.
Carly Lloyd.
Well, Carly Lloyd's retired. I was going to say Megan Rapinoe, she's going to be coming in very small minutes towards the end of games. Same with Julie Ertz. Same with Kelly O'Hara. Same with Rose Lavelle. They're all going to be towards the very end of your substitutions. Alex Morgan, she's one of your older veterans. She's a co-captain. She should be in your starting 11.
And, of course, before we kind of get into anything else with the U.S. team, I suppose being here in Colorado, there's a bit of an extra level of excitement, I think it's fair to say, with Lindsey Horan, Sophia Smith, kind of headline names on this team, right?
Absolutely, and those two should absolutely be in your starting 11. Because you've got Lindsey Horan, she's going to be holding down that midfield. Plus, she's your co-captain out there. Then you have Sophia Smith. She is the reigning female soccer player of the year, which is an incredible feat for all of those players that are on that team. She is a shining star. She is the future. When you think of the future of the U.S. women's national team, you think of Sophia Smith.
And she's only, I think, 22 years old,
yes.
That right? So
yeah, she's one of the youngest on the team. She's 22. Trinity Rodman's 21. Johansson is 18. I mean, this is an incredibly young team. All first-time players on the World Cup team. It's going to be really exciting.
And Sophia Smith, originally from Windsor. You mentioned Lindsey Horan from Golden. I want to kind of get into the team itself a bit. So it looks different. Do you expect the style of play to look different? And do you think the U.S. retains their title, or do you think they retain the favorite mechanism?
Right now they are the favorite. They're heading into the World Cup still as the #1 ranked team in FIFA.
Okay.
So that's one thing. Even though we just saw them most recently in competitive play, we most recently saw them in the Summer Olympics. They took bronze. But the teams they lost to the Netherlands. That's a team that's going to be in their group play. But Viviane Miedema, she is going to be out with an ACL injury. There's a lot of ACL injuries that we're seeing right now. So that is not going to be a team that we're really going to worry about in group play like we would have worried about back in the Olympic time. So we shouldn't really worry about that too much. They lost then. Canada was the team that ended up winning the gold medal. Another Coloradan is on that team, Janine Becky. She tore her ACL as well. They were the gold medal winning team in the Olympics. Janine Becky is not going to be on that team. Canada shouldn't be a team that we worry about too much. So you're seeing a lot of really different teams right now because of injuries, because of age, because of just the makeups of these teams. And so I think U.S. has always built its team on longevity. It's always built its team on depth. And I think that depth and that youth is what's really going to propel it going forward.
Fascinating. So I guess what are some of the other teams that maybe the U.S. should be worried about? Is it England, Germany, some of those teams?
Germany's definitely a team you want to worry about. France is a team you want to worry about. I mean, there's a lot of teams to worry about. I can't pinpoint one. There's always a few that kind of come out of. I think they're going to get out of group play. I don't want to say easily, but I think they're going to get out of group play pretty with unscathed is a good word. I think they'll get out of there, and then anything goes in the knockout round.
And by the way, in the U.S. their group, it's Portugal, Vietnam first time in the World Cup,
Netherlands,
and Netherlands are the other three teams in their group. Ariel, this is the first also women's World Cup where we've gone from 24 to 32 teams, and the men's World Cup in 2026 goes from 32 to 48 teams. Talk about that expansion and maybe overall, from a broad perspective, the kind of exciting growth
Yeah.
of women's soccer globally.
Absolutely. And I think it's necessary because I think women's soccer is absolutely drawing the same interest that, at least locally stateside, I don't mean locally Colorado, locally stateside, I think women's soccer has almost surpassed the interest of men's soccer, at least for our U.S. team, for some of our local club teams, for our NWSL versus our MLS. I think a lot of stateside, we are much more interested in our United States teams and our professional teams. Globally, it's still very behind, and I think you know that as a big soccer fan, right? And I think that you know that it's globally still very behind where fandom is for men's teams, but it's growing, and
getting there.
because now we have the Super League, right? And with that Super League in Europe, that's becoming a really big jumping off point to where fans are becoming global fans are becoming fans of female sports, or female soccer, I should say. And I think it's really propelling a lot of people to start paying attention to who these top tier players are. Our own Lindsay Horan plays for Lyon during her time during the Super League. Miedema, she plays for Arsenal. We have our own players who play for Arsenal also. Tobin Heath plays for Arsenal when she's not nursing 15 different injuries that she has right now. So I think because of that Super League, I think that's getting a lot of growth internationally as well.
I kind of want to talk about things locally here as well, because within the last few weeks, we've seen the organized push to get a professional soccer team here in Denver,
Yes.
in the metro area. And obviously the timing is not a coincidence, I would imagine.
No.
Heading into the World Cup with two starting key players in the U.S. women's national team. They're going to be starting for Team USA, you would imagine, from day one. Do you think that this World Cup could help propel that into reality?
Absolutely, it could. And let's be pretty clear here. There are two players that are starting on the team right now from Colorado, but there's more than that. We should have Mallory Swanson, formerly Mallory Pugh, starting on this team as well. She is a phenomenal striker, but she has an ACL injury. I mean, we're talking about so many star players out with ACL injuries right now. So Mallory Swanson, also a Coloradan of Highlands Ranch, she's out with an ACL injury right now. We have Jalen Howell. She's from Windsor. She is on the U.S. Women's National Team. She did not make the World Cup roster, but she's on the national team. We have so much talent right here that it is astonishing. So the fact that we have all this talent here, they want to play in front of their own home crowd. They want to play in front of their family, in front of family and friends. So when they come back here, of course they would want to have that NWSL team to play for, whether they're on the team or whether they're just coming here, in the rotation of the times that they come to play in Denver. So there's an organization at the moment, it's called For Denver FC. That won't be the title of the team if it forms a team. That's the coalition. They are trying to kind of kickstart an organization that would be an NWSL team eventually. So they say they have investors right now. They're going to have a lot of investors, because right now the fees to form an NWSL team is $50 million. That was the price of the San Diego Wave. That was the price of, this is just to get into the league, by the way. That was the price of the Bay Area team and the Boston team. Now the Bay Area team, once they paid their fees to get into the league, they raised $125 million to start their team. It's a great, that shows that people want to be involved in women's sports because they know it's lucrative. They know they can make money. Because otherwise, why would you invest that much money into it, right? So if they've got the investors, hey, let's go. Let's get a team going.
And we've talked about this off camera, Ariel, that here in Colorado, for what it's worth, my experience is not yours, but
Yes.
I do play for the University of Denver women's soccer team. I know that those teams come intentionally to Colorado and schedule DU, CU, CSU, because the talent pool is so rich here.
Yes.
And it feels like a bit of a shame that Colorado in particular, such a hotbed for women's soccer in particular does not have a team.
You're absolutely right, because yeah, they come here because they want to recruit here, because they want to see the talent here firsthand, and they want to play here because I don't think we have to tell you all that it's gorgeous here and that it's a great place to play, and that also it's a competitive place to play because we know that there's a competitive advantage to be playing here in Denver, or to have people come here to Denver, right? It's a fun place to play because you play at altitude, you play in these great places. And when the Rapids are playing well, they draw really well, and they have a great fan base, and they have a very rabid fan base. That's something you can kind of play off of, right? You can kind of see that there's a big soccer fan base here. They are a bit fair weather, so it's hard to tell. Now, the female soccer fandom is a different fandom from what you're seeing in MLS. You're also seeing a high percentage of LGBTQ fans that are fans of of women's soccer. There's a very large percentage of LGBTQ community here in Denver. It's a really good advantage to want to have your team here because you're going to have that built-in fan base.
Fascinating indeed. Back to the World Cup itself, properly a bit here. I know you don't do predictions, Ariel, but what? How do I put this politely? How do you foresee? You said you envisioned the U.S.
getting out of group play,
and then anything happens in knockout play.
It's hard to say because, like I said, they're heading into this World Cup ranked number 1 internationally in FIFA. But I had higher hopes for them in the Olympics than they performed.
They didn't play well.
They underperformed. They in these friendlies just recently, they've had spurts of looking good and then spurts where they just can't score. That's not really encouraging. But they also have not had their starting lineup out in any game. You know, they're kind of tinkering, they're toying, they're just kind of putting a little bit of stuff out there just to see where people can play, and also because they don't want to show anybody what they have, right? So it's been a little bit discouraging, but you're also like, well, you really don't know what you have yet. So I think the injuries are really going to plague them. But on the other hand, I think their depth is really going to save them. So I don't know. I think if you can get Trinity Rodman in your starting 11, they have not seemed like they have wanted to do that. But I think if you put Trinity Rodman up there with Sophia Smith and Alex Morgan, I think you have one heck of an attacking line. And I do actually believe that they can go pretty far.
Okay. We'll find out here. Anything else to add about the Women's World Cup coming up here?
I'm excited. Obviously, I'm a big fan of just sports in general. You know that. I just love everything. But I'm a huge fan of this team. I always have been. Just a short anecdote. I mean, this team in general, and not this current team, but this whole organization is really just kind of what made me just fall in love with sports and soccer and women's sports. I mean, I'm a product of the 99ers. You know, I was a kid playing soccer when the 99ers happened, the 1999 Women's World Cup team. And you know, when they went to penalty kicks and Brandi Chastain kicked that final one, ripped her shirt off, waved it over her head. I mean, that was a defining moment of my childhood. So I've just been a huge diehard fan of them ever since then. So it's just a really cool moment. Anytime the World Cup comes around, I just absolutely love it. I get chills. Yeah,
me too. I'm excited for you and for everybody watching out there. And now we got a little bit of an idea about what to watch for. So, Ariel Orsuto from 90 Sports, thanks so much for joining us here on 90 Sports.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.